Hello and welcome to SFGovTV's Meet Your District Supervisor series. I'm here with District 2 Supervisor Sherrill. My name is Franco. First up, let me introduce myself. I'm a native San Franciscan. I'm a small business owner as well, and I'm on the San Francisco Film Commission. Many people know me in the community being an auctioneer, raising lots of money for nonprofits and many schools in our area, in our city. But a lot of people know me as also the longtime in-arena voice and hype man for your Golden State Warriors, our basketball team. Many people are familiar there, but today I get a pleasure to talk to District 2 Supervisor Sherrill. You're new as a district supervisor, so let's talk about your district first off that you represent. You represent the Marina, Pacific Heights, Cal Hollow, and Presidio Heights. All great neighborhoods and areas in our city, but let's get to know you a little bit more. Let's take it back. Where were you born and raised? What was your family like?
Well, first of all, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention I also represent Jordan Park, Laurel Heights, Anza Vista, Cathedral Hill, and a little area of Russian Hill close to Ghirardelli Square.
Okay, there you go.
I love those neighborhoods too, so I'm not going to let you get away.
All right, well, that's good. Well, that's why we want to get to know you.
There we go.
You do cover a good part of our city.
And the Presidio, as it turns out.
Which is amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So I'm incredibly lucky, but you know, unlike you, I was not born here. I was born in New York City, born and raised where my parents still live, and my brother lives there as well. And, you know, I had a great childhood. I was really into sports. I think that's something that you share. I played football, basketball, hockey, and baseball as a kid, but I was also really into theater. And so I had kind of a really great upbringing with a lot of exciting activities. And then I went to boarding school, actually, for high school, where I met my now wife, who's a fifth generation Bay Area native. Grandfather went to Lowell. So I have this kind of incredible mix of not being from here originally, but having a lot, of family here, which is really amazing.
Yes, which is
really
amazing. And talk about your growing up. You said sports. You were a thespian too?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, you know, it turns out probably football was not the best for me, as I am now significantly larger than I was in high school, but I loved it. I mean, sports, that ability to work together as a team and grow both as an individual and as a group, I think is really incredible. And I think the theater is wonderful also, you know, the ability to tell stories and delve into some of the challenges in the past and what we can see in the future is just an incredible way to learn about yourself and about others.
Well, talk about, how did you get into politics first off? I mean, you know, coming from the East Coast and then you went to school, did all that. Where did that bug first kind of enter your mind?
Yeah, well, I always loved history in school. I thought history was fantastic. In college, I thought I was going to be a history major, but I had a professor tell me, you know, you're really writing political science papers. And I didn't really get the difference at the time. But then after college, I got offered a job on a political campaign. Mayor of New York City, Mike Bloomberg, was running for re-election. And I had a friend who was working there. He said, you might like this. And so I worked on his campaign in South Brooklyn, really diverse neighborhoods, Orthodox Jewish, Russian immigrants, Caribbean immigrants, old school Irish and Italian neighborhoods. Really incredible being able to walk the beat, talk to people, and really understanding the different challenges that people face, but the shared hopes and opportunities that people are looking for, to me was my bug. And from there, I moved into the mayor's office after the campaign ended. And I just loved the fact that I had the chance to work on problems that affected so many people every day, but also affected me. And we had that kind of shared challenges working together.
I see. Thank you for sharing that. Let's talk about your specific district. What are some of those main priorities? This is your first term as district supervisor for District 2. What are some of the priorities that you see now that you're a few months in?
Yeah, so my personal priority, number one, is constituent services. And when I talk about constituent services, the most important thing is to be in the community talking to residents. So we're starting with community associations or even just knocking doors and listening to people. And the number one thing that is a challenge for me, but also that I hear from residents, is public safety. People, it's pretty simple. People want safe streets and clean streets. They want to be easy here in San Francisco. And so the running theme we have is, how do we make it easier to be in San Francisco? Whether you're just starting your career, just starting your family, growing your family, I want to make it easy for families to start here, grow here, and stay here, aging throughout their lives. And public safety is first and foremost, is that
number one. Talk about the demographic in your district. You know, how do you go about making sure that some of the underrepresented are represented? And just break down kind of your district. For those who may not know, what does it comprise of?
Yeah, well, one of the reasons why I went into some of those additional neighborhoods at the beginning of this is because it's a surprisingly diverse district.
Okay.
It often gets painted as a homogenous mix of people, but the reality is the district is about 50% renter, not just homeowner, which is very unique. And the way to engage with the diverse groups of people is by being in the community. You have to talk to organized neighborhood groups.
Yeah.
But I think, as we know, there are a lot of people who aren't in those because they can't be involved in the political process because they're working on the daily challenges of their lives. They're working 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 jobs. And that's why I think walking in the community, knocking on doors, talking to people, just saying hi on the street, walking into the coffee shops. I think it's really important to just engage people on a one-on-one basis, just to hear what they think and hear what they need. There's no other way to do it.
Let's talk about some of the, if you had a Sunday off, like speaking of your district, what would you do? I'm just curious. Like, you're talking about walking in the coffee shop. Like, is there a routine or something? Like, if you just had nothing, which is very rare for folks to not be busy, but just a lazy Sunday, what would you do? What would Stephen Sherrill do?
So, today's my daughter's 3rd birthday. So, this morning I can't say it was a lazy one, but we were talking about what are we going to do Sunday? It's birthday weekend. And, I think a perfect Sunday will probably start off, run around the house a little bit, maybe some Legos, but Mama's Luncheonette down off of Union Street is awesome. So I'd want to start there. Magic wand, there's no massive line around the corner and we can sneak right in, which is pretty hard these days. But then we go from there, and then working into the afternoon, Lafayette Park, my kids are loving the playground there.
That's awesome.
It is absolutely their favorite these days. So we'd ride our bikes down to Lafayette Park, play there. Then getting into the later in the evening, I'm pretending like it is an absolutely gorgeous Sunday here. Warm, sunny. So we're going to go down to Luca Delicatessen, pick up some sandwiches on Chestnut Street, and then we're going to make our way to Crissy Field for a picnic and a little swimming.
That's a nice full day right there.
That's going to be the day.
That's your kind of a day right there.
That sounds great to me.
That's amazing. That sounds fun. If you had nothing to do, right? Of course, but there's always something to do.
That's not a bad thing. It's something to do too, though.
I know, that's true. Well, let me talk about SF as a whole. What are some of the pressing challenges that you see San Francisco facing, and what do you hope to maybe infuse in your role as a District 2 supervisor? Yeah,
I think the economic challenge that we face is that we have a huge budget deficit driven by empty office space downtown.
Right.
And we need to ensure that our downtown commercial district comes back. But when we look at this, the 2 biggest challenges we have in San Francisco are making sure that we have safe and clean streets, and that's driven by the fentanyl crisis, which is an absolute crisis. There's no other way to look at it. And then we have this long-lasting homelessness and affordability crisis in this city. And those 2 things, which often people think of as the same, they're 2 different problems. The fentanyl crisis and the homelessness crisis are 2 different but very closely related problems. And if we can address those aggressively, we'll be able to increase safety in this city, not only in terms of the fentanyl crisis, but also for people who are struggling with affordability. Increase safety for them as well. It's incredibly important. And we'll be able to see downtown come back, our economy come back, tax revenues come back. But public safety is first and foremost the most important thing. It's at the linchpin of everything. How do you navigate balancing competing interests when making decisions that affect the city? Yeah, that's a great question. It's a tough one. It's a tough one, and there will always be competing interests. But this is why we set priorities in my office. And the number 1 priority we set was community. And if we can be in community, talking to organized community groups, less organized groups, individual residents, if we can include community voices in the process of understanding, so that, my goal is to be their voice to government and not the other way around. And if we can focus and prioritize on the community, that's going to be the filter through which I make all my decisions. And from that, over the last 3 months, the overarching question that everything seems to circle back to is, how do we make it easier to be in San Francisco? Right. And when we look at that through a community lens, that's how we make these decisions that are really challenging. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. What about your decision making? Like, what's your approach when it comes to decision making and impacting your community and departments? What's your type of approach? If people don't know you and they say, this is kind of
how I go about my daily business. What's that like?
I consider myself a very data-driven person.
Data-driven, okay.
I think that comes from numbers and understanding problems, looking at it from both an academic lens, but also an analytical lens.
Okay.
But I think the part of data that most people don't appreciate enough is the data collected by one-on-one conversations and community conversations. Right. Sometimes people call that anecdata instead of anecdotes.
Yeah.
But I think those are really important. So when we take the numbers, what is driving the problems, and look underneath and talk to the community, we can really focus in on the problem so that we're not coming at this solutions first. You need to look at this problems first, identify the problem, and then look at solutions. Too often we come at challenges with solutions first without talking to the community, understanding the data. But I consider myself very data driven and from a community lens.
Data metrics show us.
Data and metrics combined with community conversations creates a really robust picture off of which to make decisions.
Okay. You've got a tough job. It's a tough job to, you have many different interests. A lot of people come in different ways, right? And you have to be there and kind of unify everybody. But what motivates you to do your role right now? What's the motivation that really just drives you, wakes you up in the morning every day?
San Francisco is just such a magical place. Yeah. And even just the weather. Yesterday was this beautiful sunny day, and today we were a little socked in with the marine layer. And you know what? I don't mind that. It's what makes this place special. We're this incredible cosmopolitan, cultural, intellectual capital that's also made up of these tiny little villages. I don't know if there's any other city on earth like San Francisco. And this is where, you're a native San Franciscan. I'm a San Franciscan by choice. We're both San Franciscans by choice, but I'll say I adopted it or it adopted me. I don't know. And when I look at the city that I want to build for me and my family, my children, but also for you and your friends, because I think we share a lot of the same hopes and dreams, that's the kind of thing that motivates me every day. And also, for whatever reason, my brain is, if the east side of the street is dirtier than the west side of the street, I'm like, what's going on there? What's happening? Now, it turns out it's wind patterns here in San Francisco. Who knew? But those are the things that I just find interesting and challenging and waking up every day.
How do you continue to grow as a leader and stay informed about the issues affecting our city?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think in anything, whether it's growing in any way, it has to start with learning, being an infinite learner.
Yeah.
The day we stop learning, I think, is the day we start dying.
I agree. There's always something to learn. You got to just be a sponge. Every day's different. You'll learn something about others.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Indeed.
And also, learning happens to make things more fun.
Right. Well, let's talk about your staff a little bit here.
Yeah.
Give some kudos and shout outs to your staff, because I know this is, like I say, your first term in here. You had to build a staff. How did you go about building your current staff right now?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I've got a great staff. I think the hardest part actually about building a staff is there's some incredible people in San Francisco who want to be working in government. Yeah. And so that was some really tough choices, but I've got a wonderful chief of staff, a woman named Lauren Chung, who is incredible. And I was lucky enough that my predecessor, Catherine Stephanie, had four fantastic people in her office, but two of them were available. And so Lorenzo Rosas leads our policy work, and Mick Del Rosario leads our constituent services work. And then I've got a great communications lead in Veronica Lempert, who ran the Prop O campaign last fall. It's a really smart team, but the most important thing is they're really good people. They're really nice, they're really thoughtful, they're really kind, and they really, really care. I'm really lucky, and we're having fun.
Yes.
Well, I'm having fun. I hope they're having fun.
Shout out to your staff out there.
They've been
watching.
Awesome. I mean, they are just.
There you go. Kudos to your staff.
I'm really lucky.
That's amazing. Talk about some of the recent successes maybe that you can share about your district. Is there a highlight that you want people to know and say, you know what, I'm very proud of that this happened in my district? What would that be?
Well, one thing that I'm really excited about is the Fillmore Jazz Festival is coming back this year. That was a tough thing, but I really got to credit the Fillmore Merchants Association leader Tim Omey, who's great, and there's some great private funders who've been incredibly generous. So I'm really excited about that. But we've actually got a great list of festivals coming up. The Union Street Fair is going to be great this year.
Yes.
And, I'm hoping that we'll get something going on the Marina Green, a little bit later this year as well. I think that's awesome to generate these community events. Are great.
Absolutely.
And then on the legislative side, I've introduced 3 pieces of legislation focused on making it easier for businesses to be in San Francisco.
That's good.
Our Van Ness corridor is really struggling. 53% commercial vacancies on Van Ness. Healthy rates are 5%. So we're almost 11 times worse than that. It is a massive problem. And so we introduced legislation making it easier for chain stores to open there. Right now, there's a 7.5-month permitting process. And if you want to open a store on Van Ness, we want you to be there. We talked to the small businesses. They were all in favor because they want that foot traffic. I like to eat at Village Pizzeria, maybe get a sandwich at Tommy's joint. They want more foot traffic on the area. So I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of legislation making it easier for businesses to put multiple signs up on corner lots.
Yeah.
It's interesting, the history of this legislation is it originally targeted ethnic communities in the Mission and Chinatown. And so we're able to reverse some not so great history and also make it easier for businesses to succeed and make the city exciting and vibrant. I want to make it easier for businesses to be here, start, grow, but also stay here, just like for families.
Yeah, I love that. And I think things are coming back. Festivals,
I think they
music, people are starting to come back to office.
Absolutely.
It's there. It's there. We've got
the momentum's there.
The momentum is there. Well, we're going to switch gears here as we kind of close out this interview. Something a little fun, a little rapid fire questions. I call it my Franco Finit minute here, okay?
The Franco Finit, I like that.
I'm going to cram as many as I can, all right? Are you ready?
All right, let's
One
go.
word answers, just whatever comes to mind, all right?
Oh, my God. Okay,
let's do
here we
it.
go.
Okay, how about this? I'm on the film commission.
All right.
Do you know, can you name a San Francisco film or based on, filmed here or something that was about San Francisco?
Yes. You said one-word answers, right?
Oh, yeah.
I got it.
That's a good one. You tricked me on that one.
Right?
The first one I'll remember are the Dirty Harry movies. Those are the first. My dad loved those.
Okay.
But then, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Is about as
One of
good
my
as it
favorites.
gets. But then The Rock.
Rock too.
And then also
there's Pursuit of Happiness. There's Milk. There's so
my
many.
God, there's so many. But I'd be remiss if I didn't go with Princess Diaries also.
Oh, you gotta love Princess Diaries.
we gotta love it,
Yes.
right?
Anne Hathaway, classic Disney. Okay, we got more questions.
All right.
Bart or Muni?
Beauty.
Okay, tech or the arts?
Oh, God. This is not a one. First of all, I have worked in tech. My wife works in the arts. My heart is with the arts. But I also know that tech in San Francisco and the arts actually work really closely together.
Okay, that's a good answer.
There's a really, really good partnership there, and we're going to continue to see that grow. That's a great question.
Okay, this is good.
I don't have a one-word answer for you.
I know, but you know what?
That's a really good question.
I like that.
My heart's with the arts, though. I love it.
Okay.
I love it. I was just at the DeYoung last night. I mean, it's just so beautiful.
We've got great arts,
We've got
and then we
great
got all of
museums
that.
here. We can go to MOAD, Asian Arts Museum. I mean, it's like, oh.
Okay, see, look, I opened up a whole can of worms there.
I could
Okay,
just go down
I got one or two more here because we're running out of time.
Okay.
Foggy mornings or clear skies?
Oh, you got to go with the combo. San Francisco's nothing if it's not the combo, right?
Okay, I like that.
Diversity of weather, diversity of people, diversity of thought. That's San Francisco.
That's San Francisco. And the last one here, hiking or biking?
Hiking.
Hiking, okay.
Hiking.
Okay, I got one little bonus one here. I know we're out of time. Fortune cookies, very iconic.
All right, here we go. Here we
Francisco.
go.
Okay, if you had to pick a flavor, chocolate, vanilla, green tea, or strawberry?
For fortune cookies,
Yeah.
I think we got to go vanilla. Keep it classic.
Me too.
Look, I seem crazy saying no to chocolate, but like.
Okay, well, I got a vanilla one here for you.
Wait, these are vanilla with. Wait,
Yeah,
I go
these-
vanilla with chocolate. How about
Okay,
that?
let's do
That's like
that.
cheating,
Okay,
but,
so now you got to open up
All right, here we go.
the fortune. This is shout out to, of course,
So
Golden Gate
here's
Fortune Cookie
here's
Company.
the question: do you
Yes.
eat your cookie before reading?
That's a good question.
Is there a right answer to that? I don't know.
There isn't. It's like, I actually
I'm
read.
gonna go-
You eat first.
I'm gonna go half.
Okay, there you go, half and half, and then let's read the fortune with the open,
All right, let's
with
do the
your
fortune.
mouth full, of course.
I'll eat fast.
what does it say?
Well, one side's in French.
So
Oh,
there we
okay.
go.
Well, je parle français, but that's a different thing.
Vous avez de. Yeah, okay, well. All right. Oh, here we go. I like this one. I don't know if this is a fortune or just a compliment, but I'm going to take it.
Okay.
You have common sense and a lot of charm.
It's not bad.
Okay,
I'll take that.
That's a good close. Is that correct?
That's more. I'll ask you that question. I'm not going to answer that one. That's a question for you.
I think so.
All right, we'll
It
take
was
it.
a pleasure talking to you. And yes, common sense
Ben, this
and
is
lots
great.
of charm.
This
And-
is
and-
great.
And I'd like to, walk down your neighborhood one day with you and just explore.
Anytime. We've got
love
some
that.
great streets, some great commercial corridors to walk down. You are welcome anytime.
Thank you so much again for taking the time. Well, I'm going to take you up on that offer. Well, if you want to know about more of our district supervisors, make sure to go to the SFGovTV YouTube channel, follow us, and subscribe. And we've got more interviews just like this. Supervisor, it's been a
great
pleasure.
being with you.
All right. It's awesome, man. So hot to do.